Namaste, everyone, and welcome. Today we continue the second ray on Achieve the Impossible on the 7 Ray series. Before we start, let's ask for divine blessing. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, to all the saints, archangels, holy angels, spiritual helpers, personally to my teacher, Master Chokok Sui, Mahaguruji Mailing, we humbly invoke for divine light, divine love, guidance, help, healing, protection. We thank you. In full faith, so be it. All right, before we start, let's do our cleansing to break up any blockages, negative energy, so we can learn a lot more, and learn faster. So tap your crown, press the center of your palms, focus on your feet. So as we chant Om, let the divine energy come down your crown, go through your body, flush any negativity or blockages out of the hands and out of the feet. All right? All right, you ready? Just be still. Allow the divine energy to go through all your chakras, discerning all negative thoughts, negative energies, and flushing them out. Cleansing your crown, your forehead, your ajna, your back head. Let the divine energy cleanse your throat, your heart, front, back heart, your solar plexus chakras. Let it cleanse your liver and spleen chakras, your navel, your mengmen. Let the divine energy cleanse your sex chakra, your basic chakra. Let the waterfall of light just flush out any negative thoughts, negative emotions through you, and flush it out of your hands and your feet to be disintegrated properly. So be it. Just be still and let the energy flow through. All right. Open your eyes. How do you feel? You shake it off a little bit. All right, let's continue. Open up your book. So in the first session, we talked about the first ray, which is will and power. The second ray is the ray of love and wisdom. So your first ray, that is, what's called the Shiva energy. Just boom, 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 just keep blasting away. The second ray is called the Vishnu principle, or have to do with love, caringness, wisdom. We'll go through this in detail, but essentially it's something like this. Oftentimes you see in pictures of spiritual pictures, they like to use the triangle. So basically that's a balance of the Trinity or the Trinitarian energy. Will or power, then you have love, and you have intelligence. So right now we're going to focus more on the love aspect, and as the way Master Cho explains it, to love and to care is to preserve, right? Or you can say to preserve, you have to love and take care of whatever you're caring for. So a mother would, out of her love, give milk, take care, nurture the baby in order to preserve the life of the baby. So that's the second aspect of the second ray, or the 7 rays. So let's go through it. The second ray is Vishnu management by love. It provides good karma. Second ray management gives the company heart. All right. So as we said in the first session, you want to get things done, but you want that in such a way that it's a win-win. You benefit, your customers benefit. You implement a policy, it's good for you, it's good for the employees, it's good for the customer. So this second ray energy is the preserving energy, preserving relationships. So it's oftentimes connected to the heart chakra. So when somebody's very loving, they have a tendency to get things done, but at the same time, the heart is also the chakra of sensitivity. So they're very sensitive to, in order to get things done, am I hurting anyone? Am I making sure that, everybody involved is treated fairly? It's not like I'm going to get whatever I want. The heck with all of you. You get my point? So the second ray helps to balance the first ray. So some of you are very, very goal-oriented. That's good. That's very first ray, right? Let's do this, let's do that. But the second ray does two things. One, it allows you to get to your objective without hurting people. And since we're talking about spiritual topics, the second ray, as Master Cho says, is also the ray that helps you generate good karma. So if the heart chakra is very activated, you're very generous, you care for people, right? So as you're caring and you're very generous to people, the good karma that is generated comes back to you, which acts as fuel or propellant to get you to your objective. Okay, let me put it another way. With first ray, you're using your force, your own power. You force through it. With the help of the second ray, you have your objective that you want to get to, right? So of course you're focused and you're moving towards your objective. By generating good karma at the same time from your second ray quality, the good karma opens up opportunities for you, generates good luck for you. That's the second ray. So that's why second ray is very, very important. Although it's the yin, the more loving, nurturing aspect, but it helps you in the background. All right, let's keep going. Management by the second ray also manifests as taking care of the interests of investors and shareholders, employees, protecting the environment, and the effects on society. Again, as I mentioned in the first session, a big part of it is geared towards if you're self-employed or you're handling an organization. But the concept is you have to try to understand the main concept, which is love, right? Caring for the environment, being sensitive to the needs of others. That's second ray. Now, loving kindness also means taking care of your employees. The second ray ensures that employees are well taken care of and so they can perform well. Consideration is given to employees as human beings, not as production inputs. There is a reward for good effort. All right. So essentially, you want to keep them happy. One of the things that was taught to us in Kri Shakti, and I just kind of cross-reference this in the prosperity class, part of generating good karma, of course, you give money to charity, help people in need, and so on and so on, right? I remember taking that class, he said something that I've never heard of before. He said, Master Cho said, when you're being generous, you're not only generous to people outside. When you generate good karma, when you give money to charity, charity starts at home. I said, what does that mean? You have to take care of your employees, and if you have people that help you, part of the money that you decide to give away to as you're tithing or giving money to charity, has to also include giving bonuses, giving salary increases, or let's say giving tips. All those are basically manifestations of your heart chakra. Being generous, that's second ray. So he said, if you take care of your employees by giving money to them, justly rewarding them and, helping them when they need, it generates good karma because they work hard for you, right? So you should also reciprocate. That's second ray. It is in giving that you receive. So overall, it's good for work dynamics, right? Workplace dynamics. At the same time, the good karma is that as you take care of them, right, your customers will take care of you because of the good karma that comes back. You get my point? All right. Now, before we keep going, second ray is the ray of love and wisdom. Let's kind of go into a little more detail. So one of the teachings says, the Lord Jesus taught through love and then wisdom. The Lord Buddha taught through wisdom, then love. You say, what exactly does that mean? It's something like this. If you remember, a lot of the biblical stories, the Lord Jesus would heal, right? After he healed someone, he would say, go and sin no more. Remember that? So essentially he's saying, the reason you have this problem is because karmically you did something that boomerang back at you. So After you're healed, you've been divinely forgiven, right? Don't create the problem again. Don't plant the wrong seeds again. So by showing compassion first, showing love, the person's healed, then they're receptive to be taught the spiritual teachings. So that's why in pranic healing, a lot of times, a person comes in for healing. They're not really interested in learning. After they receive healing, the ailment is substantially improved, or whatever problem they have is substantially improved, then they're more open to spiritual teachings. That's love and wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Now, in the case of the Lord Buddha, it's the other way around. The way he did it is this. If people have problems, they come to him. Instead of fixing their problem, he enlightens their mind. So some of you remember that story where this woman, where her son died. Okay? She came to him. Okay, could you please, resurrect, revive my son? The Lord Buddha said, okay, I will do it for you. Under one condition. Go to every household in this city. If you can find one household where no one has ever died, like they don't know anyone, their loved ones or friends has ever died, you come back and tell me, I will resurrect your child. Of course, you know the rest of the story. She went around, and every household she went to, she realized that what? There's always someone they have lost and left their body. So by the time she came back to the Lord Buddha, what happened? She had that realization, and her pain was alleviated. Didn't bring her son back, but the realization that what? There's life, there's death. It's a cycle. So the way he taught was through wisdom, he showed compassion. By a person understanding and having certain realization, their life is improved. So that's a manifestation of love when there is wisdom. So very, very interesting, Ray. According to ancient teachings, most of the people on earth are mostly second ray. I know what you think. Really? How come people like to beat up each other and people are, like to kill each other and all these wars? According to what I was taught, that's already pretty good. If most souls are first ray, the wars would not stop at all. There would be no United Nations, United this, United that. People would not even try to attempt for peace. It's because of the strong second ray that people at least try to be harmonious and get along. Okay? So it's not as bad as most people think. All right, let's keep going. So to carry it further, second ray management is managed by consensus. The weakness of this ray as trying to please every person, every constituent, and every special interest group. The desire to please at the expense of ignoring very important real factors will eventually manifest as a disaster. Okay, let me finish this and we'll cover it. In politics, over a prolonged period of time, this may manifest as financial crisis, bankruptcy of a state, bankruptcy of a nation. If you have too much heart, the company will collapse. If you have the first ray alone, the organization tends to be ruthless and heartless. Having a good heart is good, but it has to be accompanied by intelligence and by will, and by the necessity to survive. All right, that finishes that page. So let's just talk a little bit about it. So if you're a parent, we used that example yesterday, or not yesterday, the other session, the first ray. If your child makes a mistake, if you use just first ray, that's the mistake, you're punished, finished. If that's the way you run your discipline, at some point, the child will just say, oh, well, I'm doomed anyway. I'm going to do it, or they'll run away. Too much force. The opposite is also true. If you forgive everything, oh, it's okay, honey, no problem. They think, oh, it's okay to keep screwing up and messing up. You get my point? They think it's okay, so what happens? No more respect for you. So, too much love can actually encourage someone to continue their bad behavior. So a lot of times, Master Cha talked about this many years ago. He talked about the words ruthless compassion. And I meditate on that a lot. I go, what exactly is it? How could you be ruthless and be compassionate at the same time? Then the realization came like, that's where you're balancing the first ray and the second ray. Out of love for someone, at some point, you have to put your foot down. You have to use force at the right timing and the right dosage so that that person does not get harmed. So in other words, go back to the parent-child relationship. If you don't discipline the child, what happens? At some point, they become spoiled brats by not being forceful at the right time, the right dosage when they're young. What happens? They build bad habits. And they build bad habits, you're actually dooming their future. So you have to be temporarily, at the right timing, right amount to be ruthless or forceful enough that a child would realize, okay, I shouldn't do that. And hereby protecting them from a bigger disaster in the future. As the saying goes, it's better to lose your finger than your entire body. Not that you cut the finger off, but you get the idea. A little bit of discomfort on their part protect them from a bigger pain. So the second ray is very, very important. Its strengths are what? Nurturing, loving, caring. All that is wonderful and great. But it has to be also be balanced by the next ray, which is the intelligence, so that it's done. You can think, what is the amount, right? At the right time. And then the first ray quality of actually doing it. So as you notice, as we keep talking about the rays, they all balance each other out. By itself, any of the rays is not good. For example, if a person is just second ray, they want to please everyone. Now you know what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes you work so hard to please everyone, in the end, it becomes a bigger problem. I'll give you an example. In class, sometimes you want to please everybody. What is the right temperature in the room? You can get people who gets cold, you get people who get hot, and you have people who changes every 10 minutes. If you try to please all of them, you waste most of your time and energy messing with the temperature when you should be continuing with the teachings. I mean, that's just a very, very rough example. Same thing in your life. If you try to please everyone, not going by proper principles, you try to make everybody happy, people abuse you. And guess what? It also ends up in chaos. So there's always have to be a balance. So this loving energy is good. It allows you to care for people, right? Allow the people and the others to feel like, oh, I'm important. But at the same time, it has to be done with, with intelligence and the right amount of force if needed. So this second ray is very, very short because I assume that if you're watching this video, you already have a certain yearning towards spiritual teachings. So I don't have to go through in more detail what is it to be practicing second ray qualities. But if you want, when you heal people, when you show compassion, when you counsel people, okay, forgiveness is also a form of second ray quality. So all these things are connected to the heart. All right? So now, before we continue, why don't you open your palms? All right, now scan your heart. Feel your heart center. You ready? Just to kind of make it easier. Imagine someone you love. Feel love for them. Imagine yourself taking care of them. Either nurturing them with your words, being there when they need you, or physically providing for them. Just do acts of kindness towards them. Okay? Scan your heart. You notice it's pushing your hand out, right? We're not done yet. Okay, put your hand up. Just scan your crown center. Now continue showing compassion towards others. Keep going. Now you will notice as you do it, your hand on the crown is also expanding. Right, put your hand down. So essentially, it's like what we do in meditation twin hearts. When the heart center gets activated, it triggers the crown. So when you show love towards others, it activates the heart, activates the crown. As the divine energy comes down, you gain wisdom. So the two are connected. That's why the second ray is the ray of love and wisdom. All right? So how are we doing? So anyway, meditate on those words. And we'll finish the second ray for now. And then next one will be third ray. Right? Let's give thanks. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you. To my teacher, Master Chok Sui, Mahaguji Mailing, we thank you for the great, great blessings. For divine love, guidance, help, healing, protection. We thank you all in full faith. So be it. All right. Thank you very much for joining. We'll see you next time for third ray. And please leave your comments, here, and thank you very much for all of you who have been donating. If you don't, the ones who are new, if you don't know what it is, we like to keep all these videos free so that we can reach more people. And if you like to help, cover the expenses by giving whatever your heart wants to share and give, we'll be very grateful for that. Okay, other than that, you guys take care. We'll see you for Third Ray. Atma, namaste. We'll see you next time. Bye.